What's up? It's Weekly Metal Reviews. It's Tyler, Zach, and Sam. This time we're talking about Chelsea Grin, Desolation of Eden, Artery Records, 2010. So, who was it start?
This album was recorded in 2009 at Lambus Studios.
Beats.
Whatever his name is, I don't really listen to As I Lay Dying too much, but the singer of As I Lay Dying produced this album in the studio. It was released February 16th, 2010 in Artery Recordings, which is an affiliation with Razor and Pie. The album is only 35 minutes long. It's the debut album of Chelsea Grin. This was the album with the first album. This is their first real set lineup. Like before this, they were having so many lineup changes. Like Jake joined the band 2 weeks before they went into the studio to record this. Jake, the guitarist. So they were moving around a lot, and their EP has a bunch of different guys on it and stuff. So this is really their first set lineup, and they used this lineup also later on My Damnation. But yeah. I guess we'll just go with the way it starts. It starts with instrumental. I guess not instrumental. They have a breakdown with some and then some vocals over it. Judgment. It starts with a sick, crunchy breakdown. It foreshadows a lot of what the album is about. But it comes on with of course their signature on this album, crunchy breakdown, their signature guitar tone, their amazing leads. That really gives you a preview of what's going to be on this. Then Desolation of Eden, that's my favorite song off of there. It starts off with this the drums. I just love that. It's one of those songs right where you hear it, you feel the little air drumming to it.
Totally.
I think the initial riff off of that song is just sick. The second riff in is astounding. It always gets stuck in my head. The first breakdown of the song, I like it. I mean, again, it's just a breakdown. You can like them or not like them. You can think they're talented, not talented. I mean, whatever you think of them. I like it. And I think it's some pretty catchy vocals over it. And definitely the ending lead in Desolation of Eden, the song, is just, I think it's one of the greatest leads I've ever heard in my entire life. It's one of those things that just always gets stuck in your head. But this band has a lot of stuff on this album it does. Let's see. The rest of the songs are pretty, I don't want to say similar, but they all usually, they have some pretty sick breakdowns, some cool leads, it kind of, it's Chelsea Grin, I guess, off of this album. I'm not going to say it all is repetitive, but it all has this sort of similar style, I guess, these sort of simple-ish rhythms and pretty simple leads that don't really, the reason a lot of people like this album, I think, is it doesn't really confuse people. I guess some things can be confusing where you're listening to it, you have to listen to it over again, but this band really captivates people, especially this album with really just a really mellow sort of tempo to it, a really soothing and slow tempo, and the leads, they're pretty slow, I guess, so they really draw in, they kind of hypnotize people a little bit. A couple of the highlight tracks, I think, are, in my opinion, False Sense of Sanity, Revenant. I like that song. It hits right away, and the sweeps in that song are just, they're boners. I think The Human Condition is a pretty cool song. It has some pretty challenging, some pretty, I guess, intricate arpeggios and stuff in it.
Arpeggios?
Yeah, it kind of, it's a pretty, I don't know, I've never listened to it too much, but it's a good song. Requiem is probably the most popular one off of this album. It has a really catchy intro to it and everything. And I guess it's a more catchy song. Sonnet of the Wretched is like probably I think the most melodic song. It gives a really melodic feel, in my opinion, out of this whole album. Elysium is so relaxing. It's another one of those songs that a deathcore band puts on their album. It's just it shows a lot of musicianship and just talent where they can go step away from crunching breakdowns and they could stop beating your face in for a second just to let you relax and everything. But I think all in all, this band, instrumentally, they're heavy. They have sick, really, I guess, slow but really memorable leads. They have some pretty cool sweeps. Their chugs and breakdowns I really enjoy. They could be considered as just generic and boring, but I get some entertainment out of them. I like them. It's deathcore, I guess, in a sense to say. The vocals, I didn't touch on that yet, but Alex is on this album. It's way different than you'll hear on My Damnation. I used to hate it the first time I ever heard this album. I didn't like his vocals at all, but now that it's taken me some time to get into this, but I really enjoy it. I love his inhales. I mean, you can say whatever you want about inhales. It's just the sound of them to me. I love them. It just sounds like someone getting slaughtered. His highs at times are kind of weak, but I still enjoy them. Like throughout the album, sometimes they can appear a little weak, but I think they're still pretty good and really unique in a way. But yeah.
Yeah, Sam pretty much said everything I would have to say about this album. What I'll talk about is more of like what I think of Desolation of Eden throughout their whole entire discography, or however you say that, discography, or whatever it's called. But I'll just talk about how I feel with all their newer stuff coming out and how they like changed from the first EP. But looking back at this album, I've like really like seen how this band has grown and how like way more talented this band has become. I'm not saying the CD's bad, but like you like listen to Lilith, the new single, and you come back to this and it's like, whoa, they've really improved and they've wrote like so much more like just dynamic stuff and added so much more elements into this band. But I've known this band, like I've followed them since they like began. I'm a hipster, and I remember when their EP was out, I fucking hated this band. I was just like, wow, this band is shit. I didn't really give them a fair chance. I just remember, I thought the Inhale's vocals were shitty. I just couldn't get into it at all. And then Desolation of Eden, this is what caught my attention to this band, got me really into them. And I'm really glad I did, because I see they're in my top 20 bands. They're like definitely in there. But yeah, listening to this album, you can tell like the guitar work has improved. Dude, a lot of this album is just breakdowns, even though it's sad to say it. I like this band, it really is breakdowns. And there's not much, like it's more tremolo picked riffs, more your simple just deathcore guitar work. While when you look at even My Damnation, there's a lot more like technical riffs. Not that technical, but technical for Chelsea Grin comparing it to Desolation of Eden. And then Lilith came out, and with the addition of Jason Richardson, the guitar work is just, it's so up there now. This band is gonna be like very talented in the future. But yeah, it seems like every album they release, it gets better and better and better. And that's one thing I enjoy about this band. I feel like the drummer in this band is very underrated. He's a beast. He's not like he's not like anything like godlike, but he has some good drum beats. I can't think of the word. Well, I'll just use that. What'd you say?
Just left the band. If anybody heard that.
I left the band. That's news to me, but yeah, he's a really underrated drummer, and he had such like really good chops and stuff like that. But yeah, this band has just improved so much, and I can't wait to see what they do in the future. I can't wait till the EP comes out. Lilith is badass. So what do you think, Tyler?
I pretty much.
The Inhale vocals, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the Inhale vocals, like I like them when they do them in the studio, just to add like underneath the vocal lines and like layer the vocals. I think it works really well for them. But yeah, sorry.
I think this is a fairly good album for a debut for a band. Like Zach was saying, this album has, or this band has just really evolved, and
What's the name of the EP?
which is just such a fitting name for their EP too, and just they just get better and better and better and better and better and improve in every single category. Like the guitar work just gets better and all this stuff, but the guitar work on here is fairly straightforward and simple. I think Sam was alluding to that, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's pretty crushing at times. Some of the breakdowns are just like, damn, my face hurts. You know, I just got like eviscerated. But when I think of Chelsea Grin anymore, I think of My Damnation.
Yeah.
I don't find myself coming to this album that much, although I do think some of the band's best songs are off of this album. Sign of the Wretched, obviously, Recreant. I really, really, really like The Human Condition, especially when the drums kick in and the lead starts getting more technical. Oh, I love that. But I do really enjoy this album when I listen to it. There are a couple songs that just don't stick with me. There's only about like two or three of them, I would say. Most of the songs are awesome. Another track that I really dig is the song Elysium, and I would love to see Chelsea Grin write another instrumental like that. I know they wrote one on a little short one on My Damnation, but one like Elysium would be amazing, and I know this band can write something that is just as good, if not better, than Elysium. But this is a good jam to kick out when you're in a nice mood for nothing but Chelsea Grin all day, which happens. Alex Caller's vocals have just improved so much on My Damnation, but it's not like they were bad on this. I like his lows, his highs are like soaring through the roof, but they are good. But you know, right away from the song Judgment, this album just kind of, I don't know. Trying to think of what I want to say. I had it in my head and I forgot, but this album is just good. This album doesn't blow my mind. It didn't blow my mind like My Damnation, but I thoroughly enjoy it. I like listening to it. It's got some great songs and stuff. I mean, these guys pretty much summed up what I have to say. I would say if you're a fan of Chelsea Grin, pick this up. You know, if you don't own it, if you don't listen to it, you listen to Chelsea Grin, it's like, bro, listen to this.
I think that sums up our review.
One other thing, I know this is definitely a very young band and kind of, and it shows their little immaturity at the time. Not a bad thing. It's just very starting out sort of. But I've heard like people compare this band to like this album. I've heard people compare it to like Whitechapel and Suicide Silence. I could see Suicide Silence a little more than Whitechapel, but I just don't see the comparison to Whitechapel in this one. Like, Whitechapel just doesn't do this sort of like their rhythms aren't just breakdowns always. I mean, I think Whitechapel has a little more meat to their riffs, and Suicide Silence, I guess I can see it, but yeah, I guess that's all.
I feel like you can see like Whitechapel and Suicide Silence having like Retarded Baby and then Chelsea Grin.
I also like some of the lyrics on here too, especially Recreant. Some of the lyrics are just pretty slamming. I'm excited for the EP though. The EP should rule this world, and we're gonna review it. This guy pre-ordered it, and hopefully he gets it early.
Ratings and all.
I'd give this one a 6 out of 10. Like looking back at first, when I got into this band, I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10. But like looking back and like having a fair rating, I'd say 6 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
I would give it a 9.5 out of 10. Give it a